wants to play like carry versus carry type play with something like the Samir, which is not something that we get to see all that often. I know I don't think Slater was around very much, or at least when he was around, the Samira still wasn't that strong of a pick. I remember it getting picked very, very seldom inside of the VCS. The only time I actually remember it getting picked very, very vividly was when they had the Darius counter pick. I think it was Saigon Buffalo who brought that out. They ended up losing with it, which sucked, but it was really cool. But outside of that, barely anyone plays the champion. So Slater bringing this one out is a little bit of a kind of cool play, actually, for Team Flash, who really desperately need to find a win here, just to continue with some confidence, because obviously now they're locked into relegations.
Yeah, they definitely just need to test out things that are working, find if they can hit their stride. Dante is in, so
I'm not.
They find their junglers. Yeah, I mean, Ikigai had a decent game one. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
And Artie is in. That's the big one. Artie is here.
Artie is in. That one I like a lot more.
He found his way out of the basement.
Like I said, we had so many like different kind of options for a team like this, where I was like, okay, Marcus I thought was always pretty good. I thought that No-Go was really good over the course of the split. I still think that like I prefer Ikigai over Dante. Dante, by the way, I'm surprised Milky didn't bring out this stat. 0-9 on Viego this split. I do not have high hopes for this champion against Penguins via like Volibear, given the way that the first game went.
Yeah, I don't have huge hopes either, but we have seen one big time Viego loser in Drakthar able to get his first win not too long ago. So who knows what could happen as Hero finds his way onto Yoshino, has that stacked passive, and has a Volibear coming on his way. He's spotted on a ward, so Yoshino does back off easily enough.
Yeah, problem is the tower shot taken by Yoshino, it kind of yields pretty bad results. As soon as level 3 comes through from Hero here, where like you start usually W level 1, you get the Q level 2, and then you have the level 3 E, things can be problematic. They want to jump that timer with Dante here just as fast as they can, but the wave is not perfectly positioned. They weren't able to get it to bounce to get Hero back in the middle of the lane. Because of that, there's no gank to be had.
Good trade there from Eddie, using the range advantage that Fishbones gives him to get a nice little trade. Still not seeing... Oh, no. Yoshino goes very low, but the E keeps him safe. Does repel the Irelia, but look at this lane state that they're both facing down.
Little bit of a cold front kind of coming out here from Hero potentially, and he's going to keep the wave right there as well. But now the one problem is Yoshino is going to be able to actually access the... Oh, he's not. Okay, it was pretty much an insta TP from Hero to actually catch the same timer as Yoshino, and so this wave is stuck exactly where it is at, no different from what it was before, and that means that Yoshino's in a little bit of a tough spot. You got to get Dante to help break him out of a position like this, because the wave is still pushing into Hero. And they're going to be able to do it. It looks like the ward was able to kind of like make sure that like there's no approach from Dante. Instead, he's just covering for Yoshino to make sure he can try to break this. But another wave coming in might actually make this still really, really difficult for him.
Hero misses the flawless duet, so Yoshino will not get all in quite yet.
Yeah.
Not actually 100% sure how he saw Dante. I think he just kind of sussed it out. He just kind of thought it's quite likely. But now that Penguin is here, Yoshino, you better have your dancing shoes ready, because I think the best he could do is a 1-for-1, but it's not going to happen. The lightning comes down in first blood.
The wave is still stuck, too. No. This is disastrous. Keep the cannon alive, Hero. No. Okay, they want to do something, otherwise Hero would 100% be holding that in place. He would just back and then walk back to lane, and like best case scenario, Yoshino gets to shove it out a little bit, but Hero maintains the free. So they want to do something on this because he's denying a few minions to Jace, which is positive. Obviously, you want to deny gold to Jace. Bottom side, there's a play as well.
Yeah, they are going to go under the tower. Zhuhao repelling it perfectly. Artie perhaps just went a little bit too early, took a few too many tower shots, and now Dante just has to flash over the wall to get out of there before the collapse from Artifact. Team Flash not working out at all.
Ikigai got subbed out for this, man. I'm sorry. Like last game, it was the counter punches were there on the other side of the map, and right there, Dante just goes too aggressive underneath the tower, kind of drags his bot lane with him. This is a tough position for Yoshino. Yoshino has to break this because Hero is just in way too much control of what's happening in the top wave, and so Penguin really doesn't even have to do anything. All he has to do is show up, and like it didn't even matter if the ward was there. If they just shove Yoshino back and make sure that he's not able to actually access the wave, Hero just continues to kind of destroy everything that Yoshino has built up there and be able to deny him creeps a little bit further. And now we have am an analyst in North America that likes to say that basically Vamp Scepter is full build for Aurelia, and so now it's a full build Aurelia, man. Like that's how you're supposed to play into this if you're Yoshino down 15 minions.
It is extremely, extremely difficult. This Jace really is not going to be able to get anything done in the lane unless Yoshino can find some absolute magic. Bright spots for Flash. Earless, he's scaling up fine. This Victor has not been challenged at all. Would like to see him get some assists or maybe some kills, of course, to get that passive going. But he is okay. As the Dragon started up here by Penguin.
It's pretty much full control of the map here from the side of Team Secret, which is problematic based on what we saw in the last game, at least in my mind, just because obviously, like, if you give a gold lead like a massive gold advantage to Team Secret and also they are superior at macro, you don't have a chance in a game like this. Like, it just doesn't happen, right? So last game they were at least finding strikes on the other side of the map, finding a little bit of responses that kept them within gold range so that a team fight could go in their favor. But this game, it doesn't appear that, at least so far, things have gone in that direction. Now they have quite a bit more scaling because they've got Viego and Jace and Victor for the later stages of the game, which could be very big difference makers. But obviously, if they're not getting gold in their back pocket, it feels like Team Secret can kind of leverage the fact that they know what to do and where to be on the map even harder than what they did last game, which does not bode well.
Yeah, it's completely true. Oh, there's an engage on the bottom side as Artie gets knocked forward, does flash away, and Penguin joins the play. Zhuhao gets a little bit of healing, and the first kill will go over to Eddie. He gets excited, gets a second. Slater has to flash. Are they going to bear down him under the tower? No, he's a little bit too far away, but 2 kills for a Jinx is a disaster nonetheless.
And just like that, it's Penguin who's kind of, more so than anything else, he kind of took an opportunistic gank in the top side and then makes a couple, like a counter gank here into Dante, and it ruins the day here from Team Flash because there's no play to come through that like tries to get your Samira going, so maybe you can look to team fight around big neutral objectives. But also it shuts out your Viego a little bit more. It gets this Jinx up 2 kills in the early stage of the game. This is not what you want to see if you are a fan of Team Flash right now, if you're hoping that this team does well. You could see Dante was coming in, but it was a lane gank that basically matched this timer. Dante wanted to do something. What a play also from Zhuhao to get back there and get onto Artie.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fall down of this Nautilus. Sometimes you hook where you don't want to be.
Yeah.
And Artie definitely did not want to be that far up the lane. So we do have 2,000 gold in the favor of Team Secret as they look to make a play around this Herald. They have the earlier support move.
Oh.
But, the Hex Flash from Zhuhao straight into the middle of 2 of them. But it's not going to work out as now he's in the middle of 4. He does not have the ultimate. He will be claimed. And that should buy Flash a Herald.
So, like, I understand the position that Zhuhao actually found himself in right there, because he was between a rock and a hard place. But it was so funny to see him Hex Flash, because, like, if you didn't realize how bad of a place that he was in, you'd been like, he just inted there. Okay, here we go. Artifact.
Yeah, Penguin having to ult away. Now he's just going to get claimed. This was very silly here from Team Secret. They didn't need to do this.
No, pretty much not at all. Now, they had the swap up in the top lane where, like, Jinx was there. Zhuhao had gone down, yes. They were trying to contest a Rift Herald, which is, like, there's a play. There's a very realistic world where, like, this actually works out for them. But the problem is they need all their members there. And so right there, it was just Penguin and Artifact who were sitting there at the defense of this. And it didn't actually end up working out. Ooh.
Hero's actually got to find a way out of this play. I wish we were looking in the bottom lane right now, as he has been hooked up, does manage to get on top of Slater, but he's taking a lot of damage. Ooh. There's the Inferno trigger, and it will just about be enough to take down the Aurelia.
Got pretty close right there. Ooh, Eddie's actually
as well. He's in big trouble as he has been caught out by the 2 melee members of Flash. And a shutdown, and just a really poor passage of play by Secret. As there's a Realm Warp! Woohoo! Let's look at the top lane. Zhuhao trying to get onto Viego. It will be Yoshino that goes down, though, to Artifact. Good firing back.
Extremely well played right there from Team Secret. Not only the fact that, like, they actually ended up grabbing up the Rift Herald. Did they end up snagging that? No, they hadn't quite taken it yet. Okay, I thought they had taken the Rift Herald, then Realm Warped up to the top side. But it was interesting. Team Flash made one of the more, like, cool plays around Rift Herald because they pulled everybody there. Team Secret had to move more resources into the defense of that Rift Herald, and then they went back to attack lanes, which was a really cool kind of macro decision coming out. But the problem is, then they give up that play, and then they give up the Rift Herald afterwards. Again, it's Team Flash not being able to kind of work on the margins of, we got a couple of kills, now what do we do with it? And Team Secret's like, okay, well, now at least we have the ability to move in. The problem is Team Flash now actually moves back into the river. Jinx is back into the bottom lane, so Team Secret basically yielding this for free.
Yeah, Penguin can't get close enough, doesn't have the ultimate to try and go for the hero steal. But Eddie is onto the tower, so he may well be able to get first brick even before the Herald is actually dropped.
And this is why it's so valuable for this. Okay, it's going to force TP, which I think is necessary here, because otherwise, like, you do just lose first tower. And Earlis definitely has to come to the defense of the bottom tower here, which probably should have been called even earlier, because he was in mid lane catching waves, and probably should have just gone to bot side and let Samira end up catching the remnants of the previous wave and then into the next one. But again, I'm not here to judge the macro of a team that did just get a winning play on the map. That's perfectly fine for the side of Team Flash. Because you give up first brick, that's disastrous, but giving up just the one play to Jinx in exchange for the Rift Herald ends up not being too bad. So you're comfortable with how you that landed.
Yeah, as overall, the gold is in favor of Secret right now, but of course there is a Rift Herald ready to be deployed by Flash, potentially change something around. The issue is they've had so little pressure in any of the lanes so far that it's almost certainly just going to be a two-plate Herald. I don't think they can set up or engineer a play where they actually get that first break.
Yeah, actually, kind of what I want to see is to use the Rift Herald as almost a bait, where like they put it down in an expected defense coming through from the side of Team Secret to get an Inferno trigger fight out from Slater. And if they can do that, they can actually generate a really good gold advantage, especially around the Dragon, because you know where they're going to be. This is where Dante should plop the Rift Herald down in the mid lane, try to force Team Secret into a position where all of a sudden Artie could have made a play. But they don't opt for that because they're just, again, they're trying to figure out what to do with it. They're trying to use the Rift Herald more effectively. But like you said, I find it difficult to figure out how they're going to fabricate more than a couple of plates going over in the right circumstance here, which isn't really that effective. But again, this team wants to fight. I want to see this team scrap. You don't pick a Samira to sit here and scale for like 30 minutes into a game, right? Like, you want a big team fight at some point. And so this is a situation where I felt like they could have actually goaded a 5-on-5 or at least a 4-person team fight out of Team Secret and maybe taken advantage of it pretty early.
Yeah, I 100% agree. As well, we do see Hero growing a CS lead. Can he get away from Dante? Lands the perfect duet, the flawless duet. He's going to try and turn it around with the ultimate. Oh my god!
Yeah. That's the Vamp Scepter power spike coming out from the Aurelia. Insanely powerful. Just like completely rips through the health bar of Dante before even having a chance to throw out anything. As I think what had happened there is Dante got a little bit shocked by the amount of damage from Hero, because he's like, oh, I've got 2 people around me. Like, he can't take this fight. He just jumps in, kills him, and he's like, okay, that's that. Oh, he wants more.
Hero. He does, and I think he can get it as he's got that full side passive. He gets onto Yoshino. He gets the
no.
One-man army. Ionia still stands as Hero picks up a double.
Oh, he doesn't even have the mythic yet. He doesn't even have Gore Drinker yet, Carrix. This is not okay. Hero's been a top laner that's been on our radar a little bit as being like somebody that's emerging, as well as a couple of other top laners here, but Hero has been just so good at a number of situations. I talked about how I thought the Team Secret earlier in the season, before Artifact started to turn on, this was the closest thing they had to an X Factor, was actually Hero being a very good player. But thankfully, like, this is a position where he's able to operate because the rest of his team is performing so well. He gets put on full display as being a masterclass Aurelia top laner, taking the skill check into Yashino.
Penguin now finding onto Dante. Can Zhuhao get into range? He can with a flash as they look towards this jungle. The rocket flies in. It's a moment too late, but the ignite is good enough as the Viego falls, and Team Secret in the last minute or 2 have looked absolutely resplendent.
In first game, they had a lot of strikes on the side of Team Flash where things looked really great. Outside of the Rift Herald, they have looked like they have just lost around the map, and they are not able to find responses to anything Team Secret is doing. I don't know whether it's cleaning up from Team Secret, understanding that the opposite side of the map needs to play more defensively, or whether it is the fact that they went for Viego. They have, Dante in as a different jungler, and all of a sudden you just can't punish as well as what you did in the previous game. But one way or another, Team Flash is walking into the later stages of this game, or the middle stages of this game, having lost a lot of structures, being down a lot of gold right now, and putting gold into the wrong places on this map. Jinx has got 2 kills. Aurelia's got 3 kills as well. What's that, Sunfire, which means that all of a sudden, what happens when Slater presses Inferno trigger? Hero takes no damage and just kills him from melee range. Like, that's just, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, you can't shoot down melee autos.
No.
That W is not going to quite do enough unless you do something absolutely massive and like block the Aurelia ult. But I don't think Hero will allow that to happen.
No.
Team Secret. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, I was going to talk about nonsense, so it doesn't matter.
I like nonsense, but Speaking of nonsense, it's the idea of Flash being able to get back into this one as they are getting smacked. They are 5k gold down. Of course, they have had good team fights in game 1, but I just don't even know how you approach them as Penguin.
Very nice.
Does have to burn the ultimate away, so good step 1.
Yeah, that's a start. Problem is, okay, so quickly speaking on this, Team Flash is playing on 2 lanes, usually really good when, like, you hit a mid-game. Problem is, this early in the game, they haven't been able to respond to sides all that well, and that's why Aurelia is doing well, but more specifically, take a look at Artifact. He's on 192 CS, and also has taken, like, at least 1 whole tower, which is most of that top tower in terms of structure damage. Artifact is a monster as well. I'm a little terrified what the Rise is going to be able to do. I kind of hope he avoids the Fimbulwinter build, only because I want to see more damage out of him. Like, I want to see the Seraph, and I want to see more AP. Not because I think it's the proper build, right? Just because he's got so much gold, I think you could explode people if you're on the Rise, and you're up this much gold in terms of a game like this. Especially like when you said, if the W goes down from the Samira, there's no way to block that damage, and all of a sudden Samira, she's too low range to actually deal with a Rise when he's able to put in an Everfrost and put, lock you down into place. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's going to go for the tank Rise, but at this point, with the amount of economy he's got in a game like this, I feel like Artifact could go for full AP and be perfectly fine.
Speaking of tank builds, what is this Balmy Cinder in the Irelia
I love
inventory?
So this was the nonsense I wanted to talk about. When you like, Sunfire is one of the most disgusting items on melee champions because you get to proc that Sunfire when you're able to have sticking power. There's a few champions that do really well with it. We're gonna see the fight first here, but yeah, this is something I agree with wholly. Like, there's a couple of ways to play out Aurelia. Goredrinker is really good for wanting to sustain, but in my opinion, I think getting tanky with this Sunfire build and having that kind of big AoE flash damage in the midst of everything actually does quite a bit when your Qs also proc it as well. There's another champion that's really good with it on a very low-key level that I just found out last night, which is Master Yi, because you can't unstick from a Master Yi. So Sunfire does a ridiculous amount of damage, but Aurelia does the same thing, just a lot better, because she's an actual champion inside of League of Legends competitive.
Fair enough. And once again, Artifact continues to play the PvE game. He is getting his dailies done as he takes down another tower. This is, I mean, he is just farming. He's grinding. He doesn't know when the next arena tournament is.
No.
He's waiting for the enemy to connect.
Artifact, build more AP. I want to see AP Rise. I'm not here to see tank Rise again. I want to see glass cannon.
Hang on. Hero, he's only got 3 to deal with, but last time he proved that 3 was not enough. Throws out the ult. This time it doesn't land. I think they'll be able to lock him down. He flashes away. Erlis is very quick, throws the Chaos Storm out. It needs one more zap, and it'll do it. This time they're able to take him down.
Yeah, I play a lot more carefully that time to make sure that there are no abilities that hit, because if either one of them hit, I think that hero ends up pulling at least a kill in response. Now a fight in the river.
Yeah, this is a catch. They go on to Dante. He immediately has to ult away and use the flash. Penguin bearing down on him. On the other side, they found Eddie, though. And in goes the Samira. She's spooled up, has all of the style. Relwell will get the Rise out just in time. But Juhao gets hooked, has the blast cone. If he can engineer it, no, he just flashes. And Artie follows without his team. Oh, man. You can't do that. Artie now, he will finally go down. Slater enters the play, but now there's a teleport coming in. That's Hero. The raid boss is coming back in. And can they do anything about it? Has Juhao potential for CC? Artifact as well, rejoining the fight, presses that W. He has that full passive, but the Inferno trigger will send him to hell.
And another situation where Team Flash's fighting is just superior in a number of different ways. It felt like Tools right there were so split up from the side of Team Secret, they weren't able to really put all 5 of their members in the right place at the right time. Felt like Penguin wasn't really in the right place at the right time either. He was kind of off to the side of the fight the majority of this. And they started this at a disadvantage as well. Aurelia wasn't here. I know they're powerful, but they're not this powerful. You can see there's Penguin on the right side. There's the rest of his team on the left side. The W from Slater actually buys so much time because it means Artifact can't pump damage into him, which is really problematic because he was able to dive and get further. And at this point, Team Flash has already 2 pickoffs in a fight like this. Like you said, this is a little disastrous. I'm a little surprised nobody went over, but they knew Penguin was in the river, so I'm a little shocked that Artie went over in the first place. And then you're fighting a Volibear from melee range, which to me was a little preposterous from Slater, but it ends up working out pretty effectively because they have enough damage to actually bring down Penguin. The CC from the Jace as well kind of dissuaded quite a bit. And again, Hero has no cooldowns. Hero has no ulti to be able to get resets coming in. Artifact is really late to the re-entrance to a fight like this. And so Team Secret get caught stormtroopering a little bit. They're still up a ridiculous amount of gold, but again, the fighting from Team Flash is more impressive than what we expected coming into the series.
Yeah, for sure. This is, something that's always been true in Vietnam is even the bottom teams will typically have pretty good micro and pretty good fingers And Flash demonstrating
Hello.
that today, but Yoshino showing the weakness of the bottom Vietnam teams is that they've got big fingers, small brains.
Yeah, tough situation. Just running up river, and I suppose this is in an attempt to try to like reinforce mid lane so they can look for a Baron because they've got a bunch of control right here. Problem is they're losing both side lanes. I talked about this a second ago. They've been playing on 2 or 1 lane the entirety of the game for the most part. The Rift Herald isn't even what you have to stop right now. Artifact is still in top side. He's able to go to Baron, but then you have Hero on the bottom side. Like, how are you going to respond to Hero? Yoshino can't even stand to Hero right now inside of a game like this.
No, and with the Baron started up, Hero, he is still on the bottom side, doesn't actually have teleport. So Flash, if they've got that timer, could potentially make something happen when Yoshino respawns.
Mm-hmm. Good situation. I think this is, again, Team Secret realizing that Team Flash, like, they can walk in, they can take the 5-on-4, they can look for, or 4-on-4, things like that. Without the Aurelia around, they are quite a bit weaker in terms of this game. And so they aren't really actually doing that. They're just trying to posture, see if they can actually get somebody to step too far forward once again, and get a pick in some particular sense. They're okay with the game going a little bit further. Again, their side lanes are ridiculously more powerful right now inside of this game to be able to work with. You can see the Rise is on the 3 item and it has the spike of the tankiness. And Hero obviously has completed now the tank item as well. It's not Sunfire, which I'm a little bit peeved about because this is for sticking power instead of for the Sunfire procs. But the Sunfire procs are the whole reason you build this in the first place. So I'm a little bit angry with Hero right now. But obviously he's had problems staying on top of targets when he can't get the ability reset. So must feel like this is necessary inside of this game.
Yeah, but 10 seconds on this Drake. Team Secret wants to move up to Soul Point, because of course they didn't get the last one, but Team Flash doesn't want to let them.
They do not. Positioning's better for Team Secret here inside of the river. Also look at Hero's positioning. Really difficult for Team Flash to breach this, and I can appreciate their decision to actually just run it to mid lane and go for a little bit of gold in their back pockets. I think that makes a lot of sense given the objective bounties as well. They might get forced on.
Though.
Yeah.
As Artie will miss the hook, and in they go. Juha gets the immediate lock up, and that delivers Hero into the back line. He is going into
Penguin!
number 3 as well. Remember the Placidium! Yells Hero as he dives into the back line onto Slater, takes out the Samira, and immediately 3 members of Flash are deleted from existence.
It's a position where Flash, they're in the right place to actually pull for the mid tower. They need to do it very quickly, though, and they need to retreat pretty much immediately outside of a fight like this because Team Secret, they're able to get in. I talked about how, like, okay, Penguin could go in, Hero could go in, and Zuhao can go in. And the first 2 members into the fight, Zuhao is able to pick off onto Artie, and then immediately Penguin gets a massive ultimate into the back line, and it just throws everything into disarray. No one in Team Flash is ready to fight or ready to go for anything. Caught completely off guard, and that means despite the mid tower going down, which I was okay with to get themselves gold back, just does not matter. Yeah.
And this is disengaged once again. As soon as you're going into this choke against Hero, Dunzo.
Yeah, you get not only the choke for like not just like Penguin, but also Hero, like you said with the ultimate, but then also Eddie has the rockets to drop into a couple. He only needed 2 or 3 to really impact that fight, which was humongous for the side of Team Secret to get quite a bit back. Hero.
Yeah, he's moving in onto Yoshino, has the E, gives a slow, but there's a flash from Hero. He's got the blade surges. Can he find one more onto Yoshino? Because Zhuhao's coming. Yoshino curves it around, but Zhuhao flashes over the wall. Dante tries to hold him up for a moment, but they have their eyes dead set on to Yoshino. Zhuhao actually ends up taking the kill. Hero not even getting an assist. Team Flash are going to call the play on the other side as Penguin caught out in the middle of the team. Pass down to try and link up with them, though, as a Realm Warp delivers Artifact into this one, and now Hero arrives, throws out the blades once again. The Vanguard has arrived, and under the tower they go. Look how deep this Realm Warp was. It wasn't actually used. I was wrong. The Irelia has now fallen to that Inferno trigger from Slater as he desperately tries to keep his team alive, but all he can do is hope to keep himself alive as Penguin now chasing him away. The base being broken. Team Secret are triumphant. Team Secret are winning this game. Team Secret are winning this series.
All too simple. Team Secret keep up the record of beating every single team below them in the standings. Not shocking in the slightest. They do it in a number of different ways. They do it in kind of very convincing fashion, time and time again. Team Secret walk out as the number 3 team in the split. I'm very proud of what the team's been able to accomplish. I thought that this team could have been a pretty rough one walking into the split. I think I had them as 5 or something like that, and I'm willing to admit that I was wrong because this team, they turned out much, much better than I thought they were going to.
They 100% did. This has been